I'm being called right now to put something in perspective, both for myself and for anyone willing to listen. And it's these words I wrote a very long time ago, just waiting for the right moment to give myself a little pep talk. And it's the words observing versus absorbing. And I believe I wrote these down because of a video Jason Silva did. And it just really struck me that there is a big difference here between observing and absorbing energy. And recently, I've been doing way too much of going down the rabbit hole of researching things going on in the world, and it has got my heart in a tizzy, and it's giving me anxiety. And I already have suffered with anxiety for most of my life, and I've worked through many patterns of that, but I've been dealing with that the last couple of weeks, and I just think, it's time to give myself a pep talk. So observing versus absorbing, it's interesting. Because we can be very wrapped up in the drama of life very easily. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's natural, it's part of the journey, it's the way things are. You know, you can't help but feel emotions, you can't help but have an opinion, you can't help but be part of what's going on and have some kind of perception of it. That's normal, natural, and not wrong. But if you recognize that your awareness is venturing out into these emotions and you want to bring yourself back to your center and to your core and to that base of nothingness, so you can remember that it is a dream, is a drama, is a movie, you have to step back for a moment and just remember that you can observe this energy without absorbing it. It's very easy to absorb. It's very easy to take in information and have an emotional reaction to it. And so I find myself very much caught in the middle a lot of the time because I have this awareness of it being a drama. So I'm stuck in between. Nothing matters. Nothing actually matters. Like, we all die and this all, like, life goes on and one way or another, right? And that's apathetic, but that's one view of it. That's one way to just be an observer and not get too wrapped up in it all. And then there's the other part of me that's like, what's going on? You know, my emotions are all in a flurry and I'm feeling lots of ways about lots of things, and I don't feel stuck in that necessarily, as I'm more like in between the two. And, you know, taking the middle way of things, it can be kind of tricky because you do see that you could either be very empathetic or very apathetic. And that's another concept to dive into, is what is the difference between apathy and empathy? And it seems to me to be the stance of nothing matters and everything matters. And I'm somewhere in the middle here. So it's interesting. It's like, how do we just take a moment, take a step back, stop getting so worked up and just look at things at face value, right? And understand that that is what is. You can have all these emotions and ways of feeling about it. You can absorb that energy and let it hit you just as hard as it may. And you can also step back and say, wait, let me just observe this. Let me just observe what is and let it be what it is and accept it for what it is and focus back in on presence, awareness, center in. Observe the drama and don't necessarily absorb it all, because the drama is always there. It will always be there. There will always be a constant flux of splendor and tragedy. Always, always. And that doesn't mean, don't be cautious, don't look into things. Definitely do that, because otherwise you'll be stuck absorbing things you didn't want to. But always remember your power to recenter and to, I don't know if detach is the right word, but just hold a kind of space between what you're observing and what you're feeling from it. Because it's nothing new. The world going through tragic things is nothing new. People going through painful things, that's nothing new. Again, I don't mean to be apathetic, because I believe deeply in empathy. And yet I have to remind myself to not get so absorbed by it all sometimes, so that I can keep my peace inside and keep radiating that peace out, which luckily I've been able to do that pretty well. Not let my emotions get too jumbled up with my interactions. But there are definitely times where I feel a lot, and it can become a bit much. And at that point, I need the reminder. I need to remind myself that it's okay to distance from it and be just an observer. Heed the warnings, take caution, take note of things, and yet understand that this dramatic play is all about the emotions. And just by recentering, deeply breathing, reminding myself to just observe, I can let go of that anxiety. But it takes awareness to get there. The awareness that is possible, that I don't need to go through the ringer with all the emotions. And as I've been reminding myself for the last few years, in the last year and a half in particular, let things be as they are, and know that you are moving through it all, and that, as cliche as it is, this too shall pass. And observe. It's not wrong to absorb, but just remember that you can just observe too. And just breathe. Breathe and recenter and breathe. All is well. Life shall presume. Blessings.